have come to the right place to learn all about business in this city. We're here to inform, influence, and inspire. It is Ottawa Business Matters, and I'm Sam LaPrade. We're starting today with the lovely Su-Ling Ching. She is the president and CEO of the Ottawa Board of Trade. Lovely, brilliant, engaged. You are everything. You are everywhere. How do you do it?
Well, I'm passionate about the work that we're doing. I'm inspired by the business leaders that we get to work with every day, and I get to hang out with people like you.
I love it. I love it. And lots of different partners, right? I mean, this isn't a job that you do in a silo by any stretch. Once again, you're out a lot, but those conversations you're having, you know, at meetings and in forums, the events that you put on, all of them are so crucial. How crucial is it that so many people are at the table?
There's no other way to do it. There's, you know, if I look at what businesses are trying to accomplish, I look at what our elected officials are trying to accomplish, what our economic partners are trying to accomplish. None of us can do it without working together. And if there was any question of that pre-pandemic, there certainly isn't now. And over the course of the pandemic, we really had to elevate or deepen that collaboration, and we started calling it radical collaboration. We had to put everything else aside, all the other agendas aside, to look at the areas in which we had common goals and move them forward together without worrying about making a mistake or having to course correct. And so we've sort of kept that as part of our DNA at the Ottawa Board of Trade, and it's what we're encouraging governments at every level to do as well as we face new challenges and opportunities coming out of the pandemic. And so we have several partnerships in different ways with the not-for-profit sector, which is where we sit, but also with private businesses.
I see the more I get to know the Ottawa Board of Trade, I see you I'm a very visual person, so I see you as a hub. And then I see all of these people being connected to you and you connecting other people. It's like this big constellation you're creating. So talk to me a little bit about when you bring people to the table, you encourage them to bring people to the table, and that's all about membership as well, but it's just every facet of this community, I can think.
It really is, and I think that's part of our value proposition, is because we represent the entire business community, because the business community drives the economic growth in this city, and that's connected to the overall prosperity of the community. We're able to sort of take a look at the whole picture. So there are people who work specifically in, you know, social issues like homelessness. There are others that, you know, are very focused on just their businesses. But we know all of those things are connected to each other, and so we're able to make some of those connections and to be able to sort of take a look from not high above, but you know, that sort of 30,000 foot level, to say what are the key priorities that we should be communicating, that we should be focusing on as a community to drive us forward toward our goals more quickly.
And I hear a term that was kind of new to me over the last number of weeks, pillar partner. So talk to me, what is a pillar partner?
So pillar partners are members of the Board of Trade who have recognized that they want to get involved at a higher level and that they really want to elevate and support our advocacy and economic development work. So many of them are sponsors of this show, and they are also sponsoring other important initiatives like our downtown action plan as an example. And so they're local businesses who understand how important it is to have a strong voice of business. And yeah, we're grateful for them. That's a new program that we started post-pandemic in recognizing that the work that we had done well, over the course of many, many years, because the Board of Trade is not new, of course, but specifically throughout the pandemic, we see a really important opportunity for the private sector and the Board of Trade, through the Board of Trade, to galvanize the resources of the business community to help move our economic growth agenda forward.
And we talk a lot about the ecosystem and how that all obviously formulates. The partner piece of that is key as well, and all of these different people at the table. I mean, I even think about the last couple of weeks, all of the different guests that we've had on the show. This week, no different. Cyril Leader, for instance, the Ottawa Senator's going to be joining us as well. Jesse Card's going to be joining us, and lots of different guests that provide those different perspectives of the city. The entertainment piece, the hospitality piece, the labor piece, attracting people, of course, from all over the world to come here as well. How key is that?
Yeah, so all of those various aspects are important to our agenda. We do work really closely with the city's economic development department and the mayor's office. We have a partnership with the Ottawa Business Journal, and we host a variety of events. So, for example, we work with them as well as the mayor's office to deliver the Mayor's Breakfast Series, which has become very popular, and we're hosting the premiere here next month, or at the end of this month. As an example, we also partner with Invest Ottawa, and because the tech sector is so important in Ottawa tourism, because tourism is so important to our agenda. And then the other piece is we work really closely with the Ontario and the Canadian Chambers of Commerce, because they advocate for policies at those levels of government, and a lot of those policies and a lot of those priorities are also very important to our local economic landscape here. So we leverage those partnerships as well. And then we also have a standing partnership with the Chamber of Commerce in Gatineau, because we know that regional economic development is a real opportunity.
Boy, that's something that that isn't really on my radar and should be, right? I mean, we are a region. We get different people coming. They want to have a flavor of Quebec, a flavor of Ontario, and they get all that in one visit.
So, I mean, if we take into consideration the resources and the population and the market that we have as a region compared to just Ottawa, it's fantastic. And they have assets that would draw people to this region, including Gatineau Park. And so it's very important that we work together, because there's some synergy there are challenges. We have two different provinces, but they're 5 minutes away. And so it would be, I think, not smart of us to do it any other way, to look for opportunities to leverage the whole region.
What would you say to someone that is maybe watching and saying, I didn't really realize the Ottawa Board of Trade had this much influence in this city, had this much going on in terms of advocacy? I think there's this population, correct me if I'm wrong, that think you're just about events. And I've learned over the years you're so much more than that.
Right. So that's a lot of the public facing piece, so it's only natural. And a lot of our businesses and our members are looking for opportunities to get out, to connect, network, promote their business. So that's a big part of what they're interested in. But the real reason a Chamber of Commerce or a Board of Trade was ever created was to advocate for the business community. That is the unique value proposition. We are the official voice of business in the cities in which we exist. And we have a unique position representing all business sizes and sectors to be that voice of business. So I encourage people to become involved and to think about investing in the Board of Trade as part of investing not only in their business today, but in the future of our city.
And I can't help, we're on this beautiful set, and behind you, of course, Parliament Hill, and how key it is to have those federal leaders at the table, the Ontario leaders, of course, and city officials. This upcoming opportunity with the Premier to get some FaceTime with him, how important is that?
It's very important, and we have other, we have very engaged, of course, local elected officials at every level of government, but we have other strategies. We have the Premier here. We've had the Minister of Finance here from the provincial government. We go to Queen's Park regularly as part of a network for the Ontario Chamber as well for Advocacy Day. And so we have all of these various strategies we often present, and it's very important to keep the conversation alive about the importance of Ottawa as an economic engine for Ontario, and as an economic engine for the country as a whole, as a symbol for the prosperity of our country as a whole.
So why, if I'm a business and I'm in Richmond or Alta Vista or Gloucester, Why am I a member of the Ottawa Board of Trade?
Well, they would have access to the same benefits that any other member would, and then they would have the ability to be involved and influence our agenda as we're advocating for the entire city. Everything that we do is connected. Again, it's a nice little lesson from the pandemic, you know. We're all connected in this region, and so there's an opportunity to be involved and also to garner the benefits.
And I look at your very impressive board of the Ottawa Board of Trade. We've had a number of your board members on as well. If people are looking to have a more involved approach to the Ottawa Board of Trade, it's a great opportunity to become a member, see how things work, and maybe become a board member someday.
So we have several opportunities. I mean, people can join as a member. They can be active members out at the events. They have the opportunity to participate in our surveys, which identifies our priorities, and then they have the opportunity sometimes to volunteer on roundtables or on committees, and then of course the board is another option as well. So
and everybody just seems to be so engaged, which is key.
I feel that way, and I said that at the top of our conversation. You know, it's really exciting for me to be in a role where I feel like our organization can have a true impact long term in our community, but also to work with passionate, determined, bright business leaders in the city. It's really a fantastic environment.
One of the highlights of my career, I've never told you this, by the way, is you asked me to host your AGM a couple of years ago. I think it was the 161st, something like that. And I was just so thrilled to be there. I think what surprised me in the most beautiful way is standing at the podium and looking out to see who was there. There was women. There were people that are small business owners. There were CEOs there. I loved it, and it surprised me, I'll be honest. I thought it was all going to be CEOs, and it wasn't. And I loved it. It was great.
I will thank you for mentioning that. So we have been very focused on diversity in the Board of Trade over the last few years, because for a few reasons. Number one, what we know, it's International Women's Month, right, is what we know is that diversity of thought at the table will produce better outcomes for our organization and for our community. So our board a couple of years ago actually took the 50-30 challenge, where they made an aspirational goal of having 50% women in the board and leadership table and 30% equity deserving populations at the table. And within 2 years, we were able to achieve that. So we were proud of that, and we've really made a conscious effort to make sure that the face of business is that we're demonstrating, you know, through platforms like this, as well as our events and keynotes, that the face of business is true to what's happening in our community.
You were doing a beautiful job with that. Absolutely. Su-Ling Ching. She's the president and CEO of the Ottawa Board of Trade. When we come back, my friend Jessie Card is going to be here from Youth Ottawa. Come on back. I'm Sam LaPrade. Thank you so much for being here. Ottawa Business Matters is the place you go when you want to learn about all things business in this city. And of course, I know the guy that wants to do that, and that is Jessie Card, Executive Director of Youth Ottawa. Hello.
Hey, Sam. How are you?
Lovely to see you.
Yeah, you as well. Thanks for having me on.
Let's kick it off. Youth Ottawa, tell people what you do.
Well, Youth Ottawa for 27 years now has been, you know, at the forefront of trying to engage young people, spark an interest in them, try to help them develop a vision for their life. And we do that in a variety of ways. We have events where we recognize youth. We have programming that's embedded in schools, curriculum bearing, and we're in the community. So really, we try to equip youth with those skills-based programming. We try to resource them financially at times. We try to give them everything they need and the mentorship so that they can really chart their own future with those opportunities.
I love it. Some people might be thinking, okay, Youth Ottawa, the Ottawa Board of Trade. It's all about business. Why is Jesse here? And I remember when I was at the Bob Awards, which of course, Better Ottawa Business Awards in November. And I look up, there you were on the stage. Tell us why that Youth Ottawa and the Ottawa Board of Trade are so connected.
Well, you know, I think it was 2021. We saw what the Ottawa Board of Trade was doing, the Ottawa Business Journal, and I think what we see on the ground level with young people is entrepreneurship's a big thing, right? The world's changing so quick. Not everyone wants that 9 to 5 anymore, and I think it's, you know, young people have to be brave and take some opportunities. So entrepreneurship is really I think in high demand right now with young people. If we can help young people with connecting them to other, you know, more experienced business professionals that are connected with the Ottawa Board of Trade, I think there's a lot of synergies there. And of course, 40 Under 40 is a great gala. We liked it so much that we're actually in the process. We've just spent the last year rebranding our 26-year-old signature event, the RBC Spirit of the Capital Youth Awards, to the Ottawa 21 Under 21.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and we think that, you know, those synergies work really well. Like all these young entrepreneurs that are winning 40 Under 40s, these are business people that could be mentoring the next generation. And I think you would get just as much benefit as a youth getting that mentorship as being a mentor giving it. So we're excited about where we're taking that property, and the gala is going to be in October 24th at the Shaw Centre. So we're just getting the word out now about it.
That's wonderful. And I know you're going to be too shy to tell everybody, so I'm going to tell everybody.
Okay.
You are a recipient of 40 Under 40. And I know that was, and I'm going to use the word life-changing for you, because I talked to you around that time. You were kind of giddy in the best possible way to get that recognition, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's opened doors for me, and that was just in June that I was awarded that. So I really think, you know, what could something like that and that scale of recognition do for somebody at, you know, under 21 years old? So I do believe that that's a fantastic thing. I think that, you know, in terms of getting exposure to the business community early on, becoming a member with OBOT, connecting with the folks that are in that community is really important. And like I said, entrepreneurship is really a hot ticket item for young people. So we're doing our best to support them with those skills and those mindsets.
And I feel really blessed because I have, for various reasons, got kind of that inside look at what Youth Ottawa does.
Yeah.
And
you've been a great supporter for a very long time.
It's really been my honor. But I think people would be really surprised, Jesse, to see not only the incredible ideas, the brilliance, the creativity, and the drive that these young people, there was through Hot Shoe Productions,
yes.
I just sat back and went, I don't know how they do that, and I don't need to know, but that was brilliant.
It's amazing. That's why I love what I do for a living, and my staff agree. Hot Shoe Productions, of course, was a video production company we created back in 2018 with the support of the Ottawa Community Foundation. The idea was video, of course, social media is something that youth naturally grow up with now, right? My 1-year-old knows how to swipe the iPad and the iPhone. So, you know, putting these tools in their hands and then allowing them to develop a business, we were fortunate that we met some young people that were really passionate about this, and they just took the business and ran with it, and it landed them on stage at the Best Ottawa Business Awards for the best social enterprise. So we want to continue to do that. I think what I've found is that youth have creative ideas. They have lots that they want to contribute. The lack of opportunity is the problem. We have infrastructure. We have schools. We have community centers. I like to think of Youth Ottawa as kind of a software to that hardware. So we are doing our best to kind of open up funding opportunities, because we have done a really good job of taking young people and making them really inspired to help other young people. So I believe we can build an army of engagement for young people. What we need is just more infrastructure to come to the table and to be able to open up and provide those spaces and those resources for us to do it.
And to see you at the table in conversations with someone like Su Ling Ching, you know, President and CEO of the Ottawa Board of Trade. I mean, there is a synergy there. And I know even in the hallway, it was like, I got to talk to you about this and I got to talk to you about this. she's just as excited about having you there. To be welcomed into the Ottawa Board of Trade like this, what would you say to others that might be on the sidelines looking in, thinking, I want to get on the field and play with them?
If you can get out to some of these events, and I was actually just recently told that there is a student membership that's free. So I don't think many people know that. As I mentioned, those networking skills, what a perfect opportunity to kind of get your toes wet, go to some events and meet some really influential people. Not only can that community really help from a mentorship standpoint, but they're going to open up so many opportunities in terms of maybe their first contracts, their first development, if they're a nonprofit that they've started, like how to do some governance and board work. I would really encourage any young person to check out the Ottawa Board of Trade and start attending those events. And in fact, what Youth Ottawa is doing with Xu Ling and Lynn is identifying opportunities where we can maybe start bringing some of our youth to these events more often, just to create more exposure for it.
I love that. I'm as old as the hills. There's no two ways about it. But I remember being a young person trying to get ahead, walking into a room, and it's a little bit daunting, right?
Yeah.
You're kind of like, I don't know where to start. I don't know who to walk up to. And one thing I can tell you about the Ottawa Board of Trade is you walk into an event and you put your hand out to say, hi, so-and-so, and it's a warm welcome back. But it's to get you there, right? Yeah. So that's the first step.
And not every youth is at that level where they can do that. So I think we need to scaffold that a little bit more for them, and that's part of the reason why a 21 under 21 I think is needed in the city. These are the future leaders that are building nonprofits, that are helping the community, that are starting businesses. So I think what we're doing is kind of we're upstream, and the eventual destination would be the Ottawa Board of Trade naturally.
I just visualize this, and this would be so cool. So if this happens, can we connect?
Yes,
if this happens. So I can imagine somebody receiving a 21 under 21 and then receiving a 40 under 40.
I mean,
that's possible.
I think that will be more predictable than we think.
Yeah, I know. It's exciting, right?
Yeah. So, we're really excited. So, I would say kind of one of the call to actions today for our organization is just that. We think we've done a really good job of figuring out how to get youth motivated, and even without too much effort, a lot of the projects and efforts that they take on benefit youth. So we really can create this wave, but we can't do it alone, of course. Youth Ottawa doesn't really have core funding, so the more support we can get from the private sector, I think can leverage some more mechanisms at the provincial and the municipal level as well, and we can kind of continue to expand on providing these opportunities for young people. But of course, we can't do it alone like any other nonprofit.
For sure. But I think it's also a really good message that you can send to charities and nonprofits today, that there's also a place for them at the table at the Ottawa Board of Trade. I always go see people there. It's a great connecting opportunity. It's great to be there. When I think about philanthropy in the city, a lot of it comes from business. So inspire maybe your fellow nonprofit leaders to be there too.
Yeah, it's not just a private sector kind of community. You're absolutely right. I think it can benefit from a little bit more nonprofit and social enterprise makeup. And conversely, I think the thing that nonprofits, and this has kind of been, we've been told this from bigger funders, is that they're looking for charities and nonprofits to inject a little bit more business acumen into their organizations, so that as funding becomes more tight and everyone's competing for more grants, we have to be a bit more resilient and find some different revenue streams. So that is also a huge benefit, I would say, to any nonprofit leader to join OBOT as a member, is that they're going to be surrounded by people that think that way. And obviously, if you're one of many nonprofits in that room, they're looking for charities to support and missions to support. So a lot of advantages, I would say.
For sure. And you may find your next board member there.
Yeah, that's
right.
Too.
I mean, there's so many advantages there, and I know obviously the events are really important. The advocacy work that the Ottawa Board of Trade is doing as well. But to have youth at the table, it energizes a room as well.
Yeah, I do think so. I think we've got a ways to go too for that. There are there are certifications out there. The UN has a child and youth-friendly cities initiative where they will actually designate a city and a municipality based on what they integrate into their politics and into their private sector. I've talked to many city councillors about potentially Ottawa going for something like that. I think we've got a long way to go still, and we are the nation's capital, so I think we have to take a lead on how we're integrating and creating opportunities for young people. And of course, we love what we do. We get to kind of carry that flag as an organization. There's many other organizations that do wonderful work for youth in our city, BGCO to name one. We know that they're at capacity. We know that a lot of youth aren't the ones that can get themselves there. So there's a lot more work to be done in this area.
Well, I know you're leading Youth Ottawa in the most beautiful way. Thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you, Sam.
Jesse Card, of course, Executive Director for Youth Ottawa, coming up, the one, the only serial leader. Stay with us on Ottawa Business Matters. Well, we are thrilled today. Serial leader, President and CEO of the Ottawa Senators, is in the studio for Ottawa Business Matters today. Hello, Cyril.
Hello, Sam. Good morning.
Lovely to have you here.
Great to be here.
Now, you're a name that everybody knows. A little bit of a mystery, I think, sometimes for people, because you're sort of one of these people in the community that does so much, but you're not out there sort of tooting your own horn. So I'm going to do it for you today.
Okay.
You've done a lot in this community. How important is Ottawa to you?
Ottawa's very important. I moved here over 40 years ago after I graduated from university, and it's become home, obviously. Raised my family here, three adult children. My wife, we've got a home here, and it's been good to us for our family perspective, and obviously from my career perspective, it's been fantastic.
So I have to tell you, back when I was on radio, I was on the air when a little note came across my phone that you were going to be, again, the President and CEO of the Ottawa Senators. And right there, I stopped what I was doing and I told all of our listeners, I was so happy to see you come back.
Yeah.
Do you feel the love?
Well, let me first say I was happy to come back too. So it was great for me.
Great.
No, I really appreciate all the well wishes and the folks that have reached out. Obviously business colleagues of mine, friends, family, and really the team at the Ottawa Senators have been absolutely fantastic to work with. So it's been great getting back with the club.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to take you back 11 years.
Okay.
You are never going to remember this, but we will never forget it.
Okay.
So my daughter was 5.
Yes.
And you and I had met in various, situations over the years, and it was her very first Ottawa Senators game.
Okay.
And we're walking in the corridor, and I see you, and I introduce you to, and I say, Avery, this is Mr. Leader, and you said, oh, where are you Gelson today? And it was old times, I had a ticket.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I said, oh, here's where we're sitting. About 15 minutes later, up comes Spartacat. And, I'm going to get emotional.
I don't know how that happened, Sam. I don't know how that happened.
The eyes on my child.
Yeah.
She's never forgotten it, by the way.
Yeah, well, that's what we do. That's one of the great things about working with the hockey club is you get to have those opportunities both in the arena and in the community, which is important to us. And when you get a chance to brighten up somebody's day, you take those opportunities.
Yeah, for sure. You have, I think, the best job in the city.
I'm not going to argue with you about that.
Yeah. And Michael Andlauer and the excitement around the new ownership and this buzz around the Senators, the downtown arena, what's happening on the ice, there's a lot to be excited about.
Yeah, I agree with you. Michael and the ownership group have been fantastic to work with. Steve Steos, Dave Poulin, Ryan Bonus, the guys that kind of run our hockey operations, really are good people. They've got a plan. They're going to stick to that plan. I got a lot of confidence in Michael, Steve, Dave, and Ryan. They're going to figure this out, and we're going to have not only a great member of the business community that we can be proud of in the Ottawa Senators, but we're going to have a really good hockey team on the ice, one that we're all going to be, proud to call our team. So.
And here's what you could do. As President and CEO of the Ottawa Senators, I know how busy you are. You could just kind of do your job. But you seem to do, and I know you do, so much more in the community. Why?
Well, I guess a bunch of reasons. One is I always had the philosophy as if you're in business, like a rising tide floats all boats, lifts all boats. So if you can help the community that you live in or you work in, it's going to be better for you as a business leader or as a resident. And in the way I was raised, my father, my uncles did a lot of camping and fishing together. So that Boy Scout mentality. And I always remember from the time I was small till when I was the guy doing all the work, was when we left the campsite, leave it better than you found it. So we'd always go around with a bag, pick up garbage, not just our garbage, but anything else that was there. So leave something better than you found. That's kind of always been how I was raised. As I said, and I really believe that if you work hard at your business community and you can make it better, then you'll reap the benefits there. The other aspect is the Senators are one of those businesses that are entirely reliant on the hometown community for their support and their existence. So you really got to understand that, be an active participant in the community, be an active in the business community, the charitable community, the media, all the different stakeholders. You need to be part of that because we're so reliant on our local community for our existence.
And I know as we were preparing for the show today, and somebody commented, "Oh, you were CEO of the year," and sort of humbly, you're like, "Yeah, that was me." You're just such a humble person, and I know you spoke at the CEO talks as well at Canaxis, and that was very popular. Everybody wanted to be there for that as well. But you do have this humble sort of aura about you. Where does that come from?
That probably comes from my upbringing again. It's from a small town. I'm from Brockville, and when I got hired by Bruce Firestone to go work for him in 1985. It's a long time ago. And after I hired, Bruce said, you didn't interview the best of all the candidates. And I said, "Oh, really?" He said, "Why'd you hire me?" And he said, "Well, because you had the small town values, and it really came through in the interview. Respect and humility and hard work." And so I got the job with Bruce, which really led me to the Senators because I think I'm from a small town, and I'm grateful for that. And I just had an opportunity to do an interview with some folks from Brockville, and I told them I'm where I am today with the Senators. I really believe because I had a chance to grow up in a small town and learned small town values.
So take me to, let's say, grade 2.
Okay.
And somebody says to you, "You know what, Cyril, someday you're going to be the president and CEO of an NHL team." What would you have said?
Yeah, I probably would have said, "No, I want to be a baseball player or a basketball player." I was a pretty good hockey player, but I was better at baseball and basketball. Yeah. And I never got serious about the sports as an industry until I got in university, and I did a paper in university graduating year with some other guys that was, you had to pick an industry. We picked hockey as the industry, and we studied it and interviewed the Leafs and the Sabres because I was going to school in Hamilton, and they were building Copps Coliseum at the time, so there was a lot of talk in Hamilton about NHL maybe coming to Hamilton. So that was just like a one and done. I never really thought I was going to get into sports, and my father was an accountant, so I trained to be an accountant and got great training here in Ottawa with Clarkson Gordon, now Ernst & Young, and then went from there to work with Bruce Firestone. And even when I went to work for Bruce, we were a small real estate developer. We had no aspirations at that time to be in the sports and entertainment. So. It's just, I think, one of those things. I was in the right place, the right time. I got to work for, Bruce Firestone and Rod Bryden, two of, Ottawa's top entrepreneurs. And so my advice to, the young people that are starting out is, get a good education, then go work for people that have had a track record of, getting things done. So if you're not quite sure what you want to do, go work for Canaxis. We use the name. They're Ottawa's biggest high-tech company. They're doing great things. Calian's another big name. Go work for one of those companies, or the Ottawa Senators, or some place where people have had success and learn from those folks. So.
And even heading into Canadian Tire Centre now, and knowing that you know, whether it's Arizona coming to town or the Leafs or whoever, do you still get that sort of buzz in your belly about the excitement and the job that you have in this city?
Yeah, I'm at all the games. I get really excited, passionate to be at the games. And I go to most of the shows as well. But there is something about the Canadian Tire Centre when it's full. So, you know, difference between 17,200 and 18,500 is, to me, I notice a big difference. And it's just the energy, the atmosphere. People are, when we have a full building, it's something special. And we've had more of those this year than last year, and I suspect next year there'll be even more again. The fans have been really good to us from an attendance point of view. Our number of sellouts are up this year. Through the first 30 home games, almost half the games, 14, have been sold out. We'll probably finish the year with almost 20 sellouts.
That's amazing.
It's great, and we wish the team performance had been better, but again, as I said, I got lots of confidence in Steve, Dave, and Ryan and the team there. They've got a great plan. They're going to figure this out.
Well, you inspired me, and I've told you this story before, but the second that I found out you're president and CEO, I bought a small ticket package for my family.
Thank you for that.
And I am so happy to attend so many of the games. And for me, going to an Ottawa Senators game, you're going to love this, because of course it's about the hockey. Don't worry, it's about the hockey. But it's also that outing.
Yeah.
And I've often thought about a full season package as almost like 42 date nights.
Yeah.
You know, that you know, a family can really kind of get in there and feel and bring different friends. And so it's been a lot of fun for us.
Well, that's what it is. It's an outing, and you know, we're doing renovations to the building still, and what we're creating are social spaces for people to come in. You know, you're at the game, but if you want to watch the game, you can. But if you want to be social and interact with your family or your friends or new colleagues, you can do that as well.
Yeah. Before I let you go, I have to ask about the downtown arena. So
Sure.
how exciting is this sort of transition?
Yeah, it's very exciting. You know, we're working away at that now. It's not something where there's, you know, day-to-day or even month-to-month updates. You know, we're trying to figure out sort of for the next generation, the next 30 years, where's the right place for our facility, and we're doing that through the lens of the fan. So you know, get the right location from a fan's perspective that will be in the best interest of the majority of our fans for the long term. We think that's downtown, somewhere centrally located. And we're working away at that now, and you know, hopefully we'll be able to get something done there.
And working with the Ottawa Board of Trade on that too. We only have about 30 seconds, but I mean, having the voice of Ottawa business there, that's important.
Yeah, very active with the Ottawa Board of Trade. I've been on the board. I co-chair one of the committees. I really believe in the board, and the board's been very helpful to me and my business, both with Myers and now with the Senators, and they'll be an active part of our thrust to move the arena downtown.
Wonderful. So I'll just say this last thing. Go Sens go.
Go Sens go.
Go
That's
Sens
great.
go.
Thanks,
Cyril
Sam.
Leader, thank you so much.
My
Always a
pleasure,
pleasure.
Sam.
Cyril Leader, of course, joining us here on Ottawa Business Matters, President and CEO of the Ottawa Senators. When we come back, c'est bon. Come on back on Ottawa Business Matters. Okay, I teased you a little bit about C'est Bon. C'est Bon Ottawa, of course, co-founder Stephanie Siska is with us today. Hello, Stephanie, how are you?
Hi, Sam. Thank you for having me.
So good to have you here. So for those that don't know what C'est Bon Ottawa is, tell us what you do.
Fantastic. Well, we are a company that offers two streams in the culinary world. So we do cooking classes in our location in the Byward Market, and all hands-on. My business partner is actually a well-known chef in the area by the name of Georges Laurier. And we do walking, culinary, eat your way across the neighborhood experiences as well. So it's a 12-year venture now. We love really exploring all the wonderful businesses and all of the wonderful sources and resources we have around food in our neighborhood.
How have I never met you before? Because I need you on both ends of that.
Yeah.
I am not great in the kitchen, so I need you there. But also, how fun would it be to do that as a group, or friends come in from out of town and tour around like that?
Yeah,
Brilliant.
yeah. I mean, on both sides, both in the kitchen and both in the neighborhoods, it is an exploration, and it's an exploration that offers not only, food. We're eating our way through a neighborhood when we're doing a tour, or you're eating when you're producing and being coached through making a meal at our cooking classes. But it's just a really great experience for connecting, making connections. Obviously there's an education component to both streams of our business. We just love the wow that people come out of our experiences with. Things that they never knew and are discovering or rediscovering. So obviously when you're learning techniques in the kitchen and maybe you haven't touched something in a long time, or maybe you've never touched a knife, and we have those situations. But it's just seeing that kind of like discovery and that kind of, oh wow, now I understand, and I'm just so much more excited about the experience. And food, is a connector with so many people.
Absolutely.
And it's just part of what we love to do. So
Absolutely. And I think if you were to say maybe a decade, 2 decades ago, that Ottawa was kind of a foodie town, people would kind of go, well, what are you talking about? But we have changed for the better. And there is so many beautiful opportunities here in this city.
Absolutely, and we're privileged to be sandwiched between culinary destinations such as Montreal, Quebec City, and Toronto. But we hold our own, and it's something that from the get-go, somebody who's interested in the culinary field and the culinary arts can attend one of 4 culinary programs here in the city. Wow. And people don't realize how rich that is for a population that's just around the million point. That's very rich. We're a capital city. We have amazing cultures that come and meet here. Ottawa is we're on Algonquin territory, unceded territory here, and Ottawa's always been the meeting point because of the rivers that converge here. But we meet here for so many other different reasons, and the food is just one of those components that it is a tie-in to bring a lot of different people to the table. So it's fun.
So speaking of the table, and I love the way you used sandwich earlier as well, sandwich between, fantastic. So bring us to the table. What are some of your favorites here in the city?
As far as culinary experiences, as far as restaurants, you got to catch me on a specific day to ask me which ones are the ones that I'm going to, because we work just in general, and I'm not talking suppliers, but we work with 60 different businesses to bring our experiences to life. And so it really does make a difference when we bring people on our walking food tours, for instance, and we'll hit 3, 4, 5, 6 different places in one experience. Wow. And the food just tastes better when you have the story behind it.
I love that.
And it's so. Catch me on a specific day. I might tell you, so there's certain restaurants that you got to do, or this is where I'm going tonight, or this is where I'm going today. So I can't really say. I can't really pinpoint for you. Some of the guests that you've had here on the show are part of our partners and part of the places that we love to bring people to. So, but yeah, we have a rich culture within our culinary, industry here in Ottawa, and I just think it would take you years to get through everything that we have to offer.
I'm willing to step up, Stephanie. Don't you worry.
Thank you.
I'll be that gal.
Appreciate it.
You wear another hat as well, and you're the chair of Ottawa Tourism. Yeah. And you've got your beautiful pin on representing that today. Walk me through the tie-in there. Obviously, it's a close tie-in. Yeah. But with being so busy with your business, why is that so important?
That's a great question. I think from the get-go, I thought it was very important for us as a business to be engaged with the community, not only on a level of our residents, but the visitor as well, because we want to create an impression of the city that is welcoming and that is rich in many experiences, And, you know, food is always something you look to. Where am I going to eat when I go travel somewhere? That's one of the first things that people are thinking about. Where am I going to go eat when I travel to XYZ? So I think it was that important benefit of looking at Ottawa Tourism as a company that wanted to, you know, put our marketing dollars to good use as well. I mean, Ottawa Tourism does an amazing job of promoting what we have, you know, in the city. So I, you know, came in as a member and got engaged with, you know, a few kind of committees that that are put forth and offered through the organization, and it just continued to love to be engaged. And so ended up, you know, being on the board and now chair. So I'm happy to represent a number of voices as the chair of Ottawa Tourism. First of all, I'm the first female chair in the history of the organization.
No way.
So that's, you know,
I
kind
love
of a big and a proud, but also, you know, what took us so long moment for
sure.
us. I'm a Franco-Ontarian. So I'm a French-speaking Canadian outside of Quebec, but, you know, we border a wonderful province and a wonderful culture, you know, across our river. But on this side of the river, there's just as many voices that are French-speaking, so that's important to me as well. And I'm a small business owner. You know, I'm not a large organization. We have 13 employees that we're proud of, you know, our team. But that's a voice as well. You know, many businesses within our community that have to have a voice represented as well. And I guess for me, obviously, selfishly as well, it's about putting culinary tourism on the map. It's something that, it's one thing to, you know, visit a restaurant. It's another thing to have a story built around experiencing food in a destination. So
There is a certain restaurant in town that makes a certain dessert, and I have commented to, you know, about this dessert. And then the owner of that restaurant contacted me and said, do you know the story behind this dessert? And I was like, no, and now I want it every single day because the story was so fantastic. So I absolutely understand that 100%. How people can kind of well, tell us their story through food. Right?
absolutely. And I mean, how lucky am I to, you know, have to go and seek out, you know, the stories behind why this bakery is here, or why this dish is particularly on your menu, and, you know, where did you come from? What's, you know, your raison d'être? It's just so fascinating for me. And, you know, again, every bite then has so much more weight when you're experiencing it. So we love to bring that to people. It's really that.
So if we've inspired, I know we have, by the way, if we've inspired people today to visit for cooking classes or experience one of your experiences, how are they reaching out? What's the process there?
For C'est Bon Ottawa, we have a website that is fully functional. That's where you get your tickets. That's where you register for classes. You'll get lots of information right off of our website. And you know, our classes are hands-on as well. We have 2 small kitchens that host about 15. So be patient if you're on there and on our website and see that you know, it might be sold out a few things. But our experiences, both on the kitchen and on the food tour side, are year-round. And that's another thing that we're here to just put every season on the table as well. So it's fantastic.
I mean, just as you said that, I'm picturing like the time, you know, the springtime, how you would bring people around. The summer would be so different, and the fall. Now, can you tell which is my favorite? Yeah, the fall in this city is absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
And I encourage people to come in the fall.
Yeah.
Come see the colors. Come see what everything has to, you know, the city has to offer. And then, of course, winter, people come because of Winterlude and all of those good things. So so lots to offer there.
For sure. And you know, like, we have in this, and many people don't know this, is something that we kind of share during our tours even, is that we have 1,100 working farms around the National Capital Region. And so, yes, I'm not surprised that the fall is, you know, your favorite time, because that's where harvest is mostly happening. But it's a really beautiful, you know, kind of testament to all of their hard work when we get to show people how to put that on your place and raise it to, you know, a higher level and of appreciation. And we're specialists in foraged ingredients as well in our cooking classes. So, putting the forest to table experience out there is part of, something that we also want to bring to people. But, from team building events to, just a regular person that's interested in just, food in general, foodie or culinary experiences, we've got something for everybody that we're really happy to present. So.
Wow, you're bringing me back to this event I went to one time. They served pumpkin soup and little pumpkins. And I've never forgotten it. I mean, those are the kinds of experiences, right, that you remember, and nobody's remembering anything in my kitchen, just so you know. They're going to remember something in Sabon, absolutely. So talk to me a little bit. We often think about entrepreneurs as those people that would rather work 60, 70 hours a week for themselves than for 40 hours a week for someone else. Is that you?
Yes, I am definitely one of those people. There's a sense of creativity, again, a sense of connection that you make directly. And, it's I want to see things through and from beginning to end and feel like I've had a part of something and I can influence something. So I think, there's that sense of control. There's a bit of that sense of control freak that gets in there. But I think it's bringing to fruition an idea that just really drives, kind of me in that. So I'm in there.
That's wonderful. And before I let you go, I have to mention Ottawa Tourism as well. Again, chair of Ottawa Tourism. What are we finding at the Ottawa Tourism website? Why are we heading there?
Well, and hopefully we're engaging, people on many levels, not just the visitor, the resident. We want that to be a resource as well for what's happening in the city. There's so much events, so many events that take place, so many great businesses that are involved in tourism. And sometimes you don't even realize that your business is a tourism business. So as a resource, whether it be a particular festival that's going on, whether it be that you need to get your bearings on wayfinding within the city, that's what Ottawa Tourism does, and it does do it with stories as well. So, we welcome a lot of people to this city for a number of reasons, whether it be for business, whether it be for pleasure. But the local resident also should use it as a resource for everything that's going on in the city, really.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Thank you so much for everything you do.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate being
Stephanie
here.
Siska joining us today from Sabon, Ottawa. You'll want to check her out and her website out, and also head to that Ottawa Tourism website as well. Thank you to all of our guests today on Ottawa Business Matters. Until next time, I'm Sam LaPrade.